Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday, the last day of the week for a lot of people. So enjoy your last day at work. For those of you who have the weekend off, some of us still have to work the weekend, of course, but that's okay. Duke's Daily, and generally a topic I try to stay away from. I try not to talk about this guy too much, but it's kind of got to a point with Colin Kaepernick where you have to wonder, is it time to have a bit of a change of heart where this guy is concerned? Now, when this whole episode came out with him, protesting police brutality and other aspects of society where he felt the black race was not being treated fairly and not getting its due. He decides to take a knee during the national anthem, and hence it has been a firestorm from the time he did that. It's been an ongoing story. The last time that Colin Kaepernick played in the NFL was in 2016. And it's still in the forefront. He is still wanting to participate and play as a player in the National Football League. So the question becomes, after almost a 3-year absence or a solid 2 years of being away from the NFL, can we still consider Colin Kaepernick as one of the top 60 quarterbacks in the game, or 64, however you want to take it? Most teams carry at least 2, some have 3. So we could say between 60 and 80 positions that are available, 80 spots. So the question becomes, is Colin Kaepernick one of the top 80 quarterbacks in the world? And I think even having missed 2 years, one would have to say that, yes, Colin Kaepernick is one of the top 80 quarterbacks in the world, but he's not getting a job. He's not even getting return phone calls, which, I agree with the point of Stephen A. Smith when he says, you know what, you need to get rid of your agent, because if your agent isn't even getting callbacks, like he said, one thing to not be granted a job, but when they're not even calling you back, you need to seriously consider who's representing you and maybe change that aspect about what's going on around you. But the whole thing with Kaepernick, I mean, when you look at the NFL landscape right now in terms of the quarterback situation, there is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There is 9 teams that personally I could point to and say and make the case that Colin Kaepernick needs to be on their roster. Indy had the retirement of Andrew Luck. They did have Jacoby Brissett there, but let's face it, after him, it's not that good. Could Kaepernick play there? Of course he could. The New York Jets are down to their 3rd-string quarterback this weekend against the New England Patriots. Kid by the last name of Falk, F-A-L-K. 3rd stringer, and you still don't call Colin Kaepernick. Your 4th guy is now your backup. Excuse me. Is now the backup. Colin Kaepernick is not better than the 4th guy? I'll guarantee he's better than the guy starting. No job for Colin. New Orleans had the issue with Breeze. In comes Teddy Bridgewater. Sorry, Teddy Bridgewater is not Colin Kaepernick. No, he is not. Pittsburgh has lost Big Ben for the season. My apologies. I don't know who the backup is for there. Probably should have been a little more diligent. But Pitts, then again, who's the 3rd stringer? Could Colin Kaepernick have a job there? Of course he could. Miami is a mess. I know they picked up the kid Rosen from Arizona over the offseason. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Is Colin Kaepernick better than Ryan Fitzpatrick? Yes, he's better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Still no job for Kaepernick. There is a case that can be made in Tampa Bay where Jameis Winston just is not fulfilling what they thought he could be. Definitely the backup spot Kaepernick could fulfill. Still no job. Tennessee with Mariota, that's kind of an iffy one. Still think Kaepernick could probably, in a fair, straight-out competition, I still think Kaepernick could win. You got to remember, Colin Kaepernick took the 49ers to a Super Bowl. So this is not just any, plain Jane guy we're talking about. This is a guy with a lot of athletic ability. I particularly am not fussy of his style, the scrambling type quarterback. I'm just myself. I'm more prone to the, pocket passer, probably because that's what's been successful for Tom Brady and the Patriots. But a lot of, when you look at the successful ones, most of them have that pocket presence. Cincinnati with Andy Dalton, he's just been, he's never reached his potential, right? He's never taken that team further. So there's a case that Kaepernick could be there. And Washington, I don't even know who's playing. Who's the quarterback in Washington? I don't even know. It's that bland. So Kaepernick could be there. That's 9 teams that Kaepernick could be playing for. And yet the guy never continues to get a call at all. Makes you wonder if Drew Rosenhaus, who is the biggest agent in the National Football League, if he represented him, what would that mean? So it kind of brings us to a couple things. And here's something to keep in mind, that last year, Colin Kaepernick started doing ads for Nike. At the time, a lot of people thought that was a very risky thing on Nike's behalf to use such a controversial figure, especially in light of it was still, a hot topic. Well, I was reading an article here this morning. It was dated back to the 24th of September. And so I'm not sure of when these ads came out, but from it, Nike has made $6 billion since those ads were out onward. Now, I'm sure those ads weren't all that contributed to that $6 billion, but I'm sure it didn't hurt. And they did report that with them ads, there was an increase over sales. So clearly, the society is kind of split. The public is split on its opinion with regards to Kaepernick. But it requires the question of this: should athletes protest based on their political and social beliefs? Are they within that right? Here's what I would say to that. I think what you do off the field is your business, Michael. My guess is management doesn't want to deal with his politics. That seems to be part of what the problem is, Michael, for sure. Nobody's willing to take on that risk. I do not believe, and because we do know these owners of these sports, it's not all about winning. It's about money. It's the bottom line. And the NFL is the richest sport in North America. Of the major 4, they make the most money. And so these guys, winning doesn't really mean anything. Some do, some don't. But there's a reason why so many franchises flounder for as long as they do. It's because they're more concerned about the bottom line. And so having him in there, I don't believe, based on some of these other facts, that Colin Kaepernick would hurt your brand. It wouldn't hurt that particular area, right? I think if anything, it may expand. It may expand your fan base. It may expand your money, right? Money-making opportunity. But this guy is being blacklisted in the National Football League. It goes to show you that when you decide that you're going to take on a big entity, you better have all your ducks in a row. And I have to think, and I'm pretty sure he's even admitted, that he realized what the consequences of doing what he sought out to do with the taking the knee at the national anthem was going to happen. And so guess what, Colin Kaepernick? You have made your bed, so now you must lie in it. But that's not the case. I have no problem with athletes. Athletes are like us. Just because they're an athlete or an entertainer or whatever the case may be, we all have our personal beliefs, political, religious, spiritual, whatever the case may be. When you're in the public eye like that, why could he not have kind of done things off the field? When you brought that onto the field, when you made that decision, you really, really put yourself out there. And actually, it countered to what you wanted to achieve. Has anything changed as a result of what he did, other than for himself? Not really. Not really. We still hear reports of police brutality and things. That's gone on forever. It's never going to change, right? I don't think I'll see it in my lifetime. Let's put it that way. So what he sought to change didn't work. Has not ultimately worked. And yet here he is still trying to force the issue to get into the NFL. Dude, you took him to court for collusion. And I have no doubt they did collude, which is an interesting topic, collusion, isn't it? It's like, in sports when they talk about contracts and things like that. And I know back in the 80s when baseball went on strike, MLB, and they, the owners were charged with collusion and found to be guilty, which raises the question to me is, well, why, like, who is who to tell me how much money I have to spend? And being forced to pay out big money. Essentially, what that decision said is that somebody of your 28 at the time needs to pay who's deemed as the best player. You got to pay that guy big time, right? Like right now, somebody has to pay Mike Trout in baseball $37 million. But why? Why should somebody be forced to do something? I pay you based on what I evaluate your talent as, right? That should be the way it is. But it's not. So hence the thing with Colin, he made a good chunk of change there with the whole Nike thing. He's not hurting financially. If your cause is if here's where you lose me, Colin Kaepernick, is you come out and you did what you did. You drew all this attention to yourself, somewhat to your cause that you're talking about, social issues, brutality. So now you're out. They won't let you back in. Are you still championing the cause for brutality? Are you in those neighborhoods? Are you visiting those places and trying to rally the people in a good way, a productive protest, not violent protest? I'm not saying he has, but down there talking with people. Are you talking to police forces? People who are in charge of policing. Are you having conversation with them? I don't know if that's going on. If it is, then I'm not aware of it and should be implemented into this program. But it is a shame that this man does not have a job. It is. He is one of the top quarterbacks still in the world. Even having been off 2 years, he's still old enough that he could come back into this league and help any one of those 9 teams that I listed off. He could. Definitely the New York Jets, who are now down to the third stringer. Right. So anyway, that's kind of my slant today on the Colin Kaepernick things. Not usually something I like to discuss, although I will say my heart has changed a little bit, kind of leaning towards him, but he's still got these other things that kind of, I get why he's having to lie in his bed, but I would say it's true that they have colluded to keep him out and he's not coming back. I don't know how, this is as bad as it gets in New York with the Jets. You're at your third stringer. You got a backup who is now is your backup, but would have been your fourth guy who you would have hauled off the street somewhere, a college kid. And you still don't have a job, right? And one last thing. Where's Jay-Z? Where's Jay-Z in all this? Where's that guy, right? Here's a black brother in need who deserves to be playing based on his ability, right? The man did nothing wrong illegally, right? As far as we know. He just did something that did not sit well with a good portion of the American public, right? And he started a trend. He followed up in basketball. I think baseball might have had a few incidents. Never see it in hockey. Never see that happen in hockey yet. So, Colin, what can I tell you, man? You're still unemployed. You're still wealthy as ever. Most of us will never come close to what you're making right now. So forgive us if a part of us finds it hard to be completely sympathetic to your cause. Okay. All right, everybody, have yourselves a great day. Have yourselves a great and awesome weekend. If you are coming across this channel for the first time, thank you so much. Click the subscribe button. Would love to have you following along with us. Always wanting to hear everybody's comments, whether it's in our favor or it isn't. That's what freedom of speech is all about. Love hearing your slant on things. You can disagree, you can agree. That's what sports is great about, is for debate and people sharing their opinions on what they think. So everybody have yourselves a great day, and we'll see you again on Monday. And next week will also be an edition of the Sunday Night Sports Guys with T-Blades and T-Mac. And we'll really get into, week 3 of the National Football League, as well as, hockey is really starting up with training camps, and we're getting close to, the start of the season. All right, everybody, have yourself a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.